I started this blog originally because I was witnessing a sort of battle of ideas on the internet, with many negative and misleading messages pushing us to retreat into our own protective bubbles, pressuring us to confirm our biases and blame others. Endless doom scrolling can lead us to believe that the world's problems are insurmountable. So I wanted to put ideas out into the world that were positive and solutions focused, believing that maybe one person can't necessarily change the world, but that together we might. I'm Non-Zero Sum James, your companion on this exploration of win-win games and how they are essential for a better future. I've been writing here at the blog for a couple of years now, and decided it was finally time to reproduce the content in a form in which I usually consume my media, which is audio. So, playing a bit of catch-up, every couple of days I'll be reading from the blog, exploring a new aspect of game theory, moral philosophy, ethical economics, artificial intelligence, and a range of other topics, looking for solutions to the complex problems we face in our world together. So a bit about me. I'm an artist, a filmmaker, that's my day job, a coder, that's sort of my addiction, and a former male model. I'm just joking, but there are links in the description. I'm a perpetual student and a dad. I rock climb, I'm a mediocre chess player, and I generally steer conversations towards how to make the world a better place. I studied the vaguely defined intermedia at Elam School of Fine Arts, a very fancy pants art school in New Zealand. So now I'm basically saving the world with an artsy-fartsy website. For several years I've been writing, sketching, discussing, and exploring through code a sort of philosophical framework around win-win games. So I was really excited when I found the address nonzerosum.games, as this simple concept of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts is central to my thinking. For me, writing the blog has been an exercise in the Feynman technique, named after the polymath Richard Feynman, who believed the best way to learn is to teach. Feynman realized that communicating the ideas you've learned is the best way to consolidate your knowledge, and it has the added benefit that students with fresh information make for the most enthusiastic teachers. I experienced this when I was a kid, and my dad, a maths teacher, was learning to draw. His enthusiasm for art inspired my own artistic journey, and right now, I, an artist, am learning and enthusiastically teaching my daughter calculus. So it's strange how things work out. Now, what's in this for you? Well, I can't promise a lot, but you might learn something about how game theory can be applied to your decisions in the real world. I'll be sharing mental models, like the Feynman technique, that help me understand and cope with the issues of the world today. And hopefully these will be useful to you too. I also read a lot of old books, which means that the ideas might be unexpected. At the same time, this is an exercise in worldview building, trying to build a coherent picture of the physical, mental, and moral landscape, focusing not just on problems, but solutions, ways that we can come together to make the world a better place. For a taste of what's to come, here's a sample from an episode on relative value. In Jean-Jacques Diderot's Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown, he describes the opulent furnishings that now adorn his once familiar home. The straw chair was relegated to the antechamber by a leather chair. This corner asked for a writing desk, which it obtained. Diderot found himself in a trap when he'd inherited some money and began buying new furniture and accoutrements, beginning with a scarlet dressing gown, only to discover that their presence made his other belongings appear outdated and drab by comparison. He laments that he could have maintained a modest and coherent home if the imperious scarlet hadn't set everything to march in unison with it. As the potentially apocryphal story goes, this need to have everything march in unison led to Diderot's replacement of nearly everything in his house, alienating him from his home and exhausting his funds. All that remains of my original mediocrity is a rug of selvage. I can feel that this pitiful rug doesn't go well with my newfound luxury. Diderot's compulsion to compare old with new betrays an overemphasis on relative value over absolute value. Relative value is essentially about comparison, as opposed to absolute value, which is measured independently from zero. So Diderot's wealth, if measured absolutely, was tremendous, But because he was only capable of seeing the objects in his life in relation to other objects, each positive addition created the impression of a lack somewhere else, a zero-sum payoff, leaving him miserable. The post goes on, but you get the idea. The site itself is also about participation. It has many interactive elements, so I encourage you to visit it and play around, and join the active discussion in the comments. Because these are ideas I'm developing, they're not complete, and part of my development process is to test them with you and see what you think. So I'd love to hear your opinions. So that is what this site and now this podcast is. My exploration with you of non-zero-sum games. First up, we'll be asking, what are non-zero-sum games?